Hey, psst! Would you like some codes for the Season 2 Battle Pass? Just don't tell anyone it's from the League Partner Program. How is it possible? No, really, how is it possible that every year around the time of April Fools, Riot decides to have fun with the skins, and every year these April Fools skins are the best? Well, I can tell you how. Passion. And so the same time of the year arrived once again, which means it is time for fun skins. But this time, Riot might be flying a little bit too close to the sun. At least, legally. But I'm sure everything's gonna be fine, just like how fine the official drop was. So, unlike all the other trailers we get for skins, that is, if we get trailers, since fun is on the menu, Riot decided to have fun here too. And so, Pabro got a custom-made chicken suit, and he gave us a trailer of our lifetimes. With the main focus of the trailer being Swain's hot chicken, which is totally legally distinct from any other kind of a fried chicken. Of course, this trailer was full of 90s ad jokes, and in fact, the style is not too different from the one video where Riot revealed the winter map. There, we also had Pabro revealing something fun. And just like how it happened last time, this time the trailer also became a hit. So it's clear that Riot is onto something there. But of course, the main course of this video are the April Fool's skins. And so, since the hot chicken is on the cover, let's dive into that one first. And as always, all hail Skin Spotlights, because he already managed to push out all the previews. So, I'm kinda speechless, so let's cover the elephant in the room. You see, every year these April Fool's skins are great because they break Riot's fundamental rule about skins. Instead of making a skin line, these are standalone skins tailored specifically to the champions. In fact, the success of this idea is what inspired the variety skins we get in the battle passes these days. And those also prove to be very successful. And so, these April Fool's skins are also set up for success. What? This wasn't the elephant in the room? Oh. So yes, in case you haven't spent any time whatsoever on the internet, this is the Colonel from KFC. It is the person who's been the face of KFC since the beginning of eternity, and that is because this is the face of Colonel Sanders. But in many ways, this was also turned into a standalone character that became the main meme of KFC. The entire KFC brand previously used this character to tease a fake dating sim, and they also made interesting advertisements with the shirtless Colonel as part of Mother's Day. And as you can see, that is exactly what this skin is referencing. So technically speaking, could KFC sue Riot for this? Well, yes, I believe there would be grounds for lawsuit. But it turns out Riot and KFC have a pretty good jokey relationship. I mean, KFC has the gaming department too, and so we can assume that Riot made sure that legally everything is good. And it's good that they are good because this skin is good. I mean, really good. So apart from the fact that Swain just stole the KFC looks, because normally one of his arms would be demonic, here his arm is just the hot oil and grease. In his recall, you can also see that he starts to dance. This is a direct reference to KFC's work before. During this dance, you can also see that his cloak burns up, and he summons fried chickens. In fact, these chickens replace the birds that follow Swain around Summoner's Rift. It is genuinely awesome. And of course, at the end of the dance, he rips off his shirt, KFC style. For his auto attacks, you might have thought that he would be throwing around sauce, but it is actually the burning frying oil. You can see this better on his Q, which leaves behind small puddles of the smoking oil. His W then summons a bucket of clearly distinct fried chicken, and of course it is followed with an explosion of grease. Even the collecting of souls is just flying grease. His E then shoots out more grease, but it comes back as a chicken foot. In fact, the root itself is actually chicken feet coming from the ground. And of course, his ultimate turns Swain into a chicken. And that's where the references truly start. A really cool detail is the fact that you can see that the chicken's eyes are glowing red. More than that, one of the eyes is glowing more than the other. This is in reference to the deep-fried memes. The entire ultimate is then fried with a deep-frying pot. You can also see that the chicken form has its own deep-fried chicken wings, with the point of the entire ultimate being deep-frying your enemies. Thematically, this is just an awesome package. And yes, it all ends up with an explosion of grease. Now, because this skin is overall very monotone, because it is a white suit with grease, the chromas can go crazy, and in fact, they look pretty good. The best part is, they also change the color of the chicken version. So what an absolute banger of a skin. I'm really happy Riot didn't spoil this one in the teasers. Speaking of which, let's now go through the other skins that they teased before. Starting with Surprise Party Vex. This skin, as you can see, is carried by the vibe. Simply said, since Vex is depressed, let's make her happy. But it doesn't work. The best part of this skin is Shadow. Because it is supposed to be a balloon, it looks very unique. And so, since Vex is a clown, she's throwing cards with her auto attacks, the Q summons Shadow in a form of a balloon animal, the W is a surprise party explosion, you can see that these two would be good friends with Fiddlesticks, the E is more of a clown explosion with the clown face, and the ultimate marks the enemy with a clown, but then Shadow looks really creepy in the dash. I really like the form of that one. And similar to Swain, the chromas look really good too. I don't know what happened, but in the last few rounds of skin lines, the chromas just got a lot better. Now, the other skin that was also teased in the previous dev talk is the Pug Trainer Sejuani, which is Sejuani if Bristol was a dog. Now here, every single ability is kinda self-explaining. Passive is stacking up squeaky toys, the indicator is a line of bones, the dash is more or less a dash, her W whips around the doggy toy, and the stun crystallizes the enemy. The same animation is also seen in her ultimate. And I will have to say, this is the only ability that kinda looks strange thematically, but I understand why Riot had to do this. I would prefer it if the enemy got frozen in a pile of dog food, since the base of the ability is a dog bowl anyway. But for the visual purposes, you have to make sure that this looks like the enemy is frozen, and so they have to be crystallized, because it is Sejuani. So I guess Riot tried to do their best here. Lastly, you can see that the shield takes form in the glasses on the pug. And speaking of looking at the pug's eyes, you can see that the entire time, oh boy, they are wonky. And so, a pretty good skin for all the dog lovers. Now, another skin that was also teased, this time on the official timeline, was Chonk Kench, which, very obviously, is a reference to Chonk in TFT. And so here, Tahm Kench is straight up mimicking Chonk's dance. The icon of his passive is a chomping Chonk. The tongue from his Q is pretty normal, except you can see Chonk underneath it. But the W is genius. This is actually the portal you hop into if you play TFT. It is the same one you can see anytime you transition between boards. It is pretty clever. Then the shield is pretty TFT styled, and the ultimate covers the enemy in, you guessed it, Chonk. And if you are the one who gets eaten, you can see stars. Now, the chromas on this skin are also pretty good, but I am a little bit sad that they don't reference the other chromas that Chonk has in TFT. But this then brings us to the last skin that was also teased in one of the trailers. And of course, we are talking about Bubble Bash Blitzcrank. Now this is Blitzcrank, but goopy, and I hate to say it, but the inspiration is Poppy Playtime. Yes, this is actually mascot horror. And it works pretty well. The Q animation is incredible. It really looks like you are throwing out a sticky hand. And as he fires the sticky hand, we can hear the voice for the first time. My god, that is stuff of nightmares. So the W then spews out some bubbles as he runs faster. His E charges his fist, but he still punches up with the other fist that's not clenched. Which kinda made me realize maybe this skin is bugged. You can see how one fist is actually properly clenched and the other one is not. There is no real reason why these two fists shouldn't be the same. And so it's possible that one of them just has different weights painted on the armature. But what do I know, maybe it is planned, and maybe he is supposed to have two different hands that do the same thing and just look differently. Maybe it is reference to some other mascot horror. I've never played any of these. But then there is the ultimate, which of course ends with an explosion of goop. The best part about this skin is that you can't really notice Blitzcrank's old animations. And that's because it is supposed to be an old, wonky robot. And because it is a toy, the chromas reflect that pretty well. And that's what takes us to the last skin we'll be talking about, which came totally out of nowhere, and it is called Prestige Money Miser Mordekaiser. Yes, that is the official name. We are talking about Mundo's official business partner. And oh my god, does it look perfect. The hammer is just a bunch of screens with the stock portfolio going up. The passive then summons golden shards that shred the enemy and also show you a graph underneath Mordekaiser. The Q reveals more graphs going up as you slam your enemies down, which is then followed with an explosion of gold. His W then shows the stonks going up as money flies around. And I kinda love how the 7s are written in the Noxian script. His E is then a diamond hand, just like his own, which angrily pulls in the enemy after the stonks go down. And the ultimate makes Mordekaiser more gold, and it also gives him a diamond glasses. But more importantly, it turns the Summoner's Rift into a working environment. The scariest of all places. And in this corpo office, yes, you can see some poros working hard. And above all the peasants, there is also Mordekaiser's own office. And honestly, if you have a look at it, you can just see all the love that was poured into this one. The longer you look, the more details you'll notice. Now, because, of course, every time there is one of these skin lines, one of them is special, and because this is a prestige one, it will not have chroma skins, but it will have a mythic variant. Though I'll be honest, the original looks a lot better. But that is it for the skins. Are these amazing? Yes! This is a very rare moment where we got a bunch of new skins and there's almost no negativity. Everyone loves these skins. And all of this became true because Riot just had fun. Just like how they had fun with making the trailer. And that kinda makes me wonder, was Pabro wearing the costume the same bet they had with Meddler during Worlds, where the loser of Pickems would be wearing one of these costumes? I don't think Swain was part of the deal.